Let's learn how to build and customize forms. Building a form is very simple, but there are also a lot of options, so let's take a look at them. A form is an action type, so we begin in the Actions tab where we choose Add New Action, then choose the Form option. And this puts us in an Edit Action window with the familiar call to action details at the bottom, preview to the right, and what's new is that we have a form builder here on the upper left. To build a form, we simply add elements. I've added 3 here. I'm going to move the submit button to the bottom. I'm going to make the first field name. It's a text field, so it will be expecting text input. I'm going to make the second field email. I'm going to change the field type to email so that it expects an email address. And then I'm going to delete this element, and I've got a very simple form to collect a name and email address. I can make the fields required if I want to make it mandatory that they be filled out. And another way to start a form is to use a template. There's a handful of templates here, so if I'm building a white paper request form, I may apply this template and it will immediately create all of these fields. And then I can edit each field to be what I want. I can delete the fields that I don't want or change them to a different field type. I can add fields, move them into position, and in a few minutes I've created a perfect form for my application. I'm going to cancel this also and open up a demonstration form that I built. The form itself is nonsensical, but what I did was I created one of every element type just to show the different element types. The first element is a text element. It allows me to enter rich text, so it can be different colors. It can include embedded links, bold, italics, etc. And I can have as many of any element types in a form as I want. The second field type is text, which we've seen. Third is email, which we've seen. Fourth is a phone field. It will expect a phone number. Fourth is a choice field, which opens up another small builder. And this is more or less a multiple choice question. Here at how was your service, great, average, poor. I can add as many choices as I want, and I can choose whether the user can only have one answer or whether they're allowed to have multiple answers. Next is the message element, which again is expects a text input. The only difference is that it will have a bigger input field for the customer. And this is where you're expecting or anticipating longer answers. The next element type is file upload, and here we allow a user to upload files and or photos, and we choose whether they're going to be allowed to upload only one file or photo or multiple ones. Next is the checkbox element, which is a standard opt-in, opt-out statement. Again, it's rich text so that I can include links such as a privacy link to a privacy policy or terms. I choose whether or not it's required, and I choose whether or not the checkbox is checked by default or not. Next, we have the geolocation element. This is not visible in the form, but when you add it, the user will be automatically prompted. They'll be asked if they will share their location, and if so, a precise location will be added with the other form content sent back to you. Next, we have a button text, which we can change the text on the button, and then we can also change the message that the user sees after they have submitted the form. If this is a white paper request form, then we will probably change submitted to downloading, because the white paper will download immediately upon completion of the form. Going back to the top, you do enter an email address at the top. That is the email address that the form submission will be sent to immediately upon completion, or you can access form integrations here below that. Other form settings include the form's color scheme. The form will naturally inherit the color scheme of the app that it's in, but you can also override that. So if I wanted to make this background color in this form blue, I could do so. I could make it a gradient color, and I can change the text color, the button text color, etc. A very important option is where the form routes to upon completion. Standardly, you would use return to page, and the form would put the user back on the page that they were on before they completed the form. The form can also serve as a gateway to other parts of the app, so I can link to an action. So here I've linked to a file action which has a white paper embedded in it. So the white paper is inside the user's phone when they complete the form. Completing the form just gives them access to it. I can link to any action within my library, so I could link to a subpage, and the form could be fill out this form to see our deals of the week, and I could have a subpage full of deals if I wanted to. The next action is whether the form is shown directly on the page or after a call to action. This form is visible on the page, so it's fully visible. If I choose the option to show it after a call to action and then save here, you'll see that the form moved to a subpage. If I now launch this app, we will see the form simply as a call to action, and if I tap that call to action, I will see the form on a separate page. As a final note, there are many sample forms in the template apps, and it's an option to copy an individual form from a template and then customize it. Search by the Forms tag to find a selection of sample forms within the template. That's it. Thanks for watching a quick overview of the Form Builder.